Hi, I'm Brian with Pioneer Builders. Welcome to the Build Show Network. In this episode, we're going to be talking about sub-slab installation, specifically using the Halo SubTerra product. Now we're going to talk about kind of the theory or why we're using this product. Now, bear in mind this is not an ad. However, these folks did provide the materials for us. So full disclosure there. That's part of us being a spec builder, is we're actually trying to find things that make our bottom line better. So in this case, we were able to use these folks and they have been awesome to deal with. I've had technical questions and they've been great to work with. So as far as the theory about this particular product, it's really taking care of two different issues that we're trying to take care of. Thermal as well as water. So just like we use the Huber zip system sheathing, it's because it's multiple products in one. This does the same thing if you install it right. It's graphite polystyrene, so it doesn't have thermal drift like maybe a polyiso product would have. That means that it'll be thermally stable. It has an R value of 5 per inch. It should stay at that. I don't know if it'll move, a little bit here and there, but it's a very stable thermal product. This is going to go underneath the basement slab. So what we have is our footing and then our stem wall. This will be in contact with gravel. The gravel's in contact with the ground. This helps to keep the basement warmer. So basically, we just want to make sure that the inside of the house stays warmer or cooler than the outside. In this case, we're really only talking about heat loss, not heat gain. The ground isn't going to be warmer than the inside of the house. So in the wintertime, we want our customers to be warmer. Technically, we don't need to put this everywhere by code under the whole slab as far as the minimum code is concerned. I just think it makes sense. You get one shot at this, so you might as well use a product that goes under the entire slab. But what is contained in the ground? Well, most parts of the world, you've got moisture in there. And so you don't want moisture to be rising up. But this actually works, as you can see here, water resistant. When you look at the specs, it actually goes through what its perm rating is. It's less than 1. That's kind of a fancy way of saying there's not a lot of water that's going to be coming up through it. But you need to make sure that the whole assembly works. So typically, you would put plastic over your insulation that goes sub-slab. Here, we're going to use a 3M tape. That 3M tape, I checked in their specification, is one of the things that you can use, and then this whole assembly gets to stay as that vapor retarder. So we're skipping a step there by having to come and put plastic over the top of it. Again, these guys have been great sending me all this technical information. So this is section 72113, and you can read through, make sure you're compliant. It's an editable document. I actually ended up using this, edited it, highlighted things so that my brother, who's in the field, would be able to get the high points when it comes to the installation. Now let's get into the actual installation over on site. A couple of the products. This is that 3M tape that I mentioned. I ended up just getting it from Amazon. There's no release film on the back, but I've heard good reviews and it's in their specs, so I feel pretty safe with it. If you want, as far as air sealing, you can use acoustical sealant to go around the perimeter. Where that would end up going is, in our case, it's on top of the footing, and it would be on the underside. This is going to get a little strip that gets placed in here, and then you tape the top. We're not high radon here. As far as the air sealing, we're going to use aero barrier. So again, part of the mentality with being a spec builder is not to go overboard in eliminating things, but analyzing, do we really need it? This is expensive stuff. It's not easy to install, so you've got the labor time, the procurement, all of those factors you have to take into the cost. So Timmy and I talked about it this morning, and we're just not going to install it. It's not required in the manufacturer's spec. The guys have been installing it, and here's a little chunk. I'll show you the thickness on it. You can see it's 2 inches. What we ended up doing, this was an idea that came about because of our structural engineer. On this side of the house is the foundation, and on this side is the conditioned space. So we ended up pouring a curb here that's 6 inches tall. What you end up having is 2 inches worth of foam followed by about 4 inches of concrete. You know, right up next to this, it's a little variable, but that's what we did to plan ahead. That should make everybody's life easier. Putting this on top of the footing does end up losing you a couple of inches of headroom, but do you think anybody's ever really going to notice 2 inches in about a 9-foot ceiling? I don't think so. As you look around, you'll see how much the guys have already installed, and it's only taken them a little bit of time. The plumbing uprights is really what takes most of the time, but they're making fast progress. So once this is on, then from here up to here will be concrete, and we might even have to change that once we see where all of our elevations ended up actually being. I'm Brian with Pioneer Builders. Thanks for watching. I sure enjoy being part of the Build Show Network. Give me a follow on Instagram at Pioneer Builders Inc. That's where I really cover more of the day-to-day operations. But thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time on the Build Show. I thought we had one more piece.
Me too.
Brian's got it.